Hi, my name is Yasin Gulf, and you're with the weekly edition of my channel. As always, there will be three issues today. First, I will start with the negotiations between the United States and Russia regarding the war in Ukraine. Then I will move to a real estate, and we will finish with gold and the price of gold. But first, let me start with the negotiations. I think that everybody kind of have forgotten what this war between Russia and Ukraine is all about. Now we see in the negotiation something about territory, something about economic deals regarding gas, regarding oil, regarding rare earth minerals, and so on and so on. And somehow, probably, if you're not too deep into the whole story, that if the one, if Russia will get something and Ukraine will get something, and then the US and Europe and everybody will be happy and the war will be over. But, looking at the reasons for the start of this war will give you the key. And the key is the following. Russia doesn't want to have a strong Ukraine at its border. The reason is, if Ukraine is strong and prosperous, this will be a terrible, terrible sign for the Russian society. They will see that they are able to live much better, and this will destabilize the Russian society and the regime of Vladimir Putin. So that's why there were always plans, many plans, before the military conflict to destabilize Ukraine. And it was by supporting, of course, the Russian minority, corruption scandals, information campaign against Ukraine, and so on and so on. That's why, if the war is over and Ukraine will start to prosper, that will be terrible for Russia. Simply, they want to keep the situation unstable. This is the reason for Putin to ask for new elections in Ukraine and probably removing Zelensky, because he wants instability. Another question is, if there will be an elections, if there will be instability, and if Zelensky will win, or somebody actually being even more firm will take his place. But there is no way for somebody supporting Russia to win in Ukraine. This is all, trash talk with no any consequences for the future. That's why this is impossible. It's impossible to negotiate and think that you will give something to Russia, like you will say that Crimea is, you will recognize Crimea as part of Russia, an idea that was floated by the United States. This will do nothing. They want Ukraine to be destabilized. And if a situation after a ceasefire or a peace leads to the stabilization of Ukraine, this is no good for Russia. That's why they're in a tough spot right now. Also, because I have said that many times, because of the tariffs introduced by the administration of President Trump, right now the price of oil went down, especially the Urals type of oil that is produced by Russia. And when such types of oil like Brent are above $60 per barrel, the price for Urals is a little bit more than 50. 30% of the budget of Russia relies on revenue from oil and gas. And it has been calculated with a price of $70 per barrel. And now the price is a bit more than 50. So they're in a tough spot, and they are supported mainly economically by China. If the situation is the same right now and there is no change, they will be more and more dependent on China. And at the end, it will be like the same story when Trump is saying that he wants Canada to become the next state of the United States and to become part of the United States. It's happening already between China and Russia, because Russia is beginning to be more and more dependent on China for everything. So I'm not a big optimist about the negotiations. There were a lot of things actually that have been promised to the Trump administration for deals regarding gas. You heard about Nord Stream and starting it all over again. You probably heard about the interest in the gas pipeline going through Ukraine to Europe. And of course, looking at my country and Bulgaria and the neighboring Serbia, there are two refineries that are owned by Russian companies. The Bulgarian one is in Burgas on the Black Sea, and it's owned by Lukoil. It's in the process of being sold, but it's not sold because it's part of the whole negotiations between Russia and the United States. The same Gazprom owns the refinery and oil stations in Serbia, and they are under sanctions by the United States, and nothing is happening there. There was a time frame in which United States said that the refinery should be sold to another party, not Russian. But from then on, the sanctions are postponed by 30 days and 30 days and 30 days, and the refinery still is owned by Gazprom. So the situation is tough, and I don't see how this is going to be resolved soon. Now I will do something strange. During this week I went out of the studio, and the reason was to speak about the price of real estate. And as you will see, I will start, of course, from a Bulgarian example, but strangely enough, the situation in Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria, and in Vancouver, Canada, are roughly the same. Hi, my name is Yasin Guev, and this time I'm starting the video outside. This is in a neighborhood in Sofia, and I will be speaking about real estate prices. First, here in Sofia, and here about the situation in Vancouver, in Canada, which you might not imagine that, but it's roughly similar as the development. Prices, of course, are a bit different. But here in this neighborhood, 5 years ago, in this huge apartment building, two-room apartment was worth 67,000 euro, and three-room apartment a little bit more than 100,000 euro. And the garage, one garage cost was 20,000. On the other side, there is a new development that is huge. It has not finished yet, and the prices are much different than here right now, because it's 5 years later. And for a two-room apartment, the price is 140, and for three, 180,000 euro. And here is another look of this new development. You see three buildings, but actually the whole project is 7 buildings. It's called Central Park, yeah, like the Manhattan Central Park. There will be a park in between, and there will be no cars inside. So it's gonna be quite nice when it's ready in a few years. And the interesting thing is that there are no investment funds that are buying apartments. These are individuals or small businesses buying 1 or 2 apartments. So the whole project is still not sold out, but it's selling pretty well. There is a very interesting article published by BBC about the real estate market in Vancouver, Canada. It starts with the story of the family of a lady called Willow Yamauchi. She, together with her husband, they bought their family home in Vancouver, a normal house 25 years ago, and then the price were 275,000 Canadian dollars. That is something like 312,000 US dollars today. What happened 25 years later? If they want to sell that house today, they will get more than 2 million Canadian dollars. I want to show you also this map of Vancouver. And here you can see also of course, the price is higher in all areas that are closer to the ocean. But in general, what this is showing is that actually the prices of individual houses are over 2 million. And if you want an apartment, it's a bit more than 800,000. And that's the range in which you can find housing in Vancouver right now. In the article published by BBC, they have spoken with students in Vancouver, and those students, if most of them actually decide to stay with their parents, but those that want to rent a room are paying between 1,100 and 1,500 per room, and normally this is a big house or an apartment, so it's jointly rented by several people, sometimes up to 5 or 6 people. So the major issue with the price of real estate in Vancouver is actually supply, because of the growing population. And there is a research of the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation that estimates that more than 3.8 million homes need to be built in the next 6 years to address the shortage. But so far, whatever it's done on the construction site is not enough. The new government, led by the Liberal Party of Mark Carney, who became a prime minister, said they aim to build 500,000 new homes a year, and there will be a new government agency in charge for this project called Build Canada Homes, and they will oversee both the financing and the construction. And now let's move to the price of gold. Now you see on your screens the 5-year graph of the price of gold. See how it went up, up, and up. If you wonder why today it went a bit down, this is because there is a rumor about starting new trade negotiations between China and the United States, and that's why the price went a bit down. But let me tell you what is happening generally with this asset. Since the beginning of 2025, the price of gold has been setting new all-time highs and is up by 23% so far this year. Over the last 1 year, gold has gained 50%. The price of gold has jumped 100% in less than 3 years. On October the 10th, 2022, the price of gold per ounce was $1,704, which has since risen to 3,470 as April 22nd of this year, doubling in less than 2 years and 6 months. The previous rally in gold of this magnitude was witnessed in 2020, but was short-lived. Incidentally, on April 22nd in 2020, gold was trading at 1,700. Gold is finding enough reasons to keep its trajectory upwards. The most recent concern is about US President Donald Trump's criticism of Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Before that, a series of factors have led gold prices to keep increasing over the last 2-3 years. The reasons for gold being the only asset class where investors wish to safely deposit their money are numerous and include geopolitical worries, trade disputes sparked by Trump's tariffs, the dollar's decline in value, and a sell-off in US treasuries. Gold is viewed as a safe haven asset amid economic uncertainties. The recent geopolitical situation has led central banks to buy gold in huge quantities as well. China has recently shown itself to be a significant buyer of gold. Gold prices have remained high due to China's growing gold stockpiles. China's overall reserves rose 2.3% to 3.5 trillion US dollars between January and March 2025. China reported buying 12.8 tons of gold in the first quarter of 2025. And let me tell you, China is not alone. There are many central banks throughout the world that are buying gold. To give you also an example from the Balkan Peninsula, if you have followed the situation in Turkey, Turkey is not very stable financially and has quite high inflation in the last few years. That's why people are buying massively gold in order to keep the value of their hard-earned money. And this is only one example. There are also other central banks throughout the world that are following the example of China. And the reason is simple. In a time of uncertainty, you need a stable asset, and gold looks like one. This is all from me. See you again next week.